some questions here. Hey guys, so I am wanting to start a YouTube channel, obviously. So this is my first video, and I figured I would introduce myself. Probably one of the best ideas for a first YouTube video, if my brain works. Okay, so of course I had to write them down because I get in front of a camera and I forget everything that I'm trying to say. Okay, so I guess let's start. So I had to look these up because I can't ever come up with any questions or anything about myself because, yeah, I guess that's one thing about me. Okay, so first, my name is Jenny, and I am 20 years old. I'm from the US. I live in Utah. Okay, so 3 words to describe my personality. So I literally had to think about these and write these down so that I wouldn't forget. So I think that I am fun and exciting, and I also think that I'm really shy. Like, when you first meet me, I probably won't talk much, and I don't really ever know what to say, and I just kind of laugh a lot. I'm very shy. But as I get more comfortable, when I get to know you, I am like super hyper and like probably pretty immature for a 20-year-old. Like, me and my friends at work, we just kind of mess around and laugh a lot. Like, that's me. Okay, so next question is pets. Me and my husband, we have one pet. That's another thing. I'm married. So we have one pet. It's a bearded dragon, and I'm sure I'll show you guys him at some point. Maybe I'll put a clip of him in here. But so we've had him since 10 days after we got married. So we've had him for about 7 months now. Let's see. Today's the 27th. 7 months yesterday. So yeah. So here's kind of a weird question I found. It's Microsoft or Apple? So I'm going to have to say Microsoft because I have worked with Microsoft a lot more than I've worked with Apple, and so I understand it a lot better. However, I'm going to start editing these videos on my husband's Apple computer, so that answer might change. We'll have to see. So, sports that I like to play are volleyball. I love volleyball. Baseball. That's it. I like to dance. I dance a lot. I don't know if you count that as a sport. I don't know. I did competitive dancing for like my last 2 years of high school, and because of that, I got a lot of muscle, and because we had to do conditioning, kind of like you would for like soccer or a lot of other sports, you do conditioning, and so I had to do that with dance. So I guess depending on how into it you are, I guess maybe you could count it as a sport. Okay, favorite ice cream. I don't really like ice cream, honestly. Like, if I have to go get it from the fridge, scoop it out, like, by that time I'm too tired to eat my ice cream, like, let's be honest. But, favorite ice cream I probably have to say is Play-Doh. Or the Superman, depending on where you're from, depends on what it's called. But my favorite shake is chocolate marshmallow. My favorite color is blue. Let's see, some cool places I've been. I have been to Hawaii, and I went on a cruise in Hawaii. I went on a cruise, and then I also went on a cruise when I was 10 from Florida. We went to Disney World, and then we went to Castaway Cay and a couple other places in the Bahamas, so that was really cool. I've also been to Canada. I've been to Niagara Falls. I went on like this whole history trip with my family when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and we literally drove from Utah all the way up to New York and then back to Utah and just kind of stopped every little place in between. So that was pretty cool. Let's see, favorite time of year. that would probably have to be summer. I love the warm weather, and I love that I can just walk outside in my shorts and my tank top and no shoes. Instead of in wintertime when it's freezing outside and I have to go put on some boots and and a coat and actually get more dressed than just wearing what I wear around the house to go outside. So that's a little bit about me. Let's see. Let me tell you a little bit about my life. So when I was 7 years old, I guess we can start here, I was diagnosed with celiac disease. And basically what that is it's an autoimmune disease, and I can't have gluten. So I'm allergic to anything with gluten in it. So wheat, rye, barley, sometimes oats will have it in it. It really just depends on where they're manufactured. But so I've had that since I was 7 years old. Everyone always asks me, like, how different it is, how awful it is. Like, you know, I've had it since I was 7. I don't really know anything different. So then, let's see. So I lived a pretty normal life. Like, I can't think of anything that really stood out. I mean, my parents were pretty strict. But like I said, that's pretty normal for me. Like, I've had that my whole life. So, yeah. So when I was 16, I moved to Michigan. I moved in with my sister. And, yeah, so I lived there for about 2 years until I graduated high school. So I did my junior and senior year there. And I loved it. It was awesome. I lived about 20 minutes away from Detroit. Or not 20, like 10 minutes. I have the hiccups. I lived about 10 minutes away from Detroit. And it's a little town called Redford. And I went to Thurston High School. And I lived just right next to the high school. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. So I graduated there in 2016, and I wanted to stay there, but I couldn't make ends meet, couldn't figure out a place to stay, and just nothing worked out. So I came back to Utah and ended up going to Snow College down in Ephraim. If any of you know where that is, it's in the middle of nowhere. So I went there for a year. I kind of struggled a bit at the beginning. Like, the first half of the year, I really struggled. Come around second semester, though, is when I met my husband. So we met on Tinder, on a dating app. I know. Tinder has this reputation for being about, like, not great things. And I honestly didn't even know that until after we met, and yeah. So we met. We talked for about, we talked for 4 days, and then we had our first date. So he came and picked me up and took me back to school, because at the time I didn't have a car, because I had just gotten in a really bad accident about a month ago and totaled my car. So I didn't have a car at that point. So he came and took me back to school, and yeah, we just talked. My husband is a musician. He told me that he played guitar. Like, we'd been talking, and he told me that he played guitar and all this stuff, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, he plays acoustic guitar and he can serenade me and everything, right? No, my husband plays the electric guitar, and he's into metal and, like, total metalhead. So he has been in, I think, 2 bands, both that he started, both he's been kicked out of. But he's worked with some pretty big name brands, like Chelsea Grin. He's worked with them. Yeah. So anyway, so we went on our first date on January 16th of 2017, and he asked me to be his girlfriend that day. So things were obviously moving pretty quickly at that point, and my Fitbit's buzzing. What does it want? Wants me to walk. No, thank you. But anyway, so he asked me to be his girlfriend. I said yes. And, yeah, so we played pool, we watched some movies, and just kind of hung out. Let's see. So then, obviously, we liked each other a lot. So on March 16th, we had been together, January, February, March, 2 months. I guess we'd been together for 2 months, and he asked me to marry him. So we went to P.F. Chang's, and he had them bring the ring with dessert, but we both weren't hungry, so we didn't order dessert, so they had no idea what to do. So they brought us a cake that was on them, and put the ring down, like the box down with it. And I was like, okay, what's this? Like, okay. And so everyone's always like, were you expecting that he was going to propose to you? And I was like, well, yeah, actually. So the only reason that I was expecting that he was going to propose to me was there was somebody actually sitting at the table behind us that looked exactly like his older brother. And so I was like, oh my gosh, his older brother's here. He's totally proposing. So yeah, he did end up proposing, but that wasn't his older brother. So yeah, we'd known each other for 2 months, and he proposed to me. So then on June 16th, we got married. Yeah, we got married. It was awesome. We got married at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we got married outside of my sister's backyard. And yeah, so we went on our honeymoon to Disneyland, and that was really fun. So our first day there, I might actually put some clips of our wedding in here. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe I'll do that in another video. But, so we went on our first day. We just kind of hung out. It was Sunday. Yeah, so we just kind of hung out. We watched movies. And then on the next day, we went to Disneyland. And that was really fun. And then the day after that, we went to California Adventure. And then we had, let's see, so by that point, it was Wednesday. So Wednesday, we just kind of hung out. We watched more movies and just relaxed. Thursday, we went to the beach, and Friday, we drove to Vegas. So in Vegas, I guess. So we had booked our hotels like 2 months in advance. And, so we got to the hotel that we had booked, and they couldn't find our reservation. So I looked up our reservation on Hotels.com. Turns out that I made 3 reservations for June 16th, which was the day we got married. Turns out I made 3 reservations for that night, and so we were in Vegas and had no place to stay. So we ended up so my husband had a concert the next day that he really wanted to go to. Well, for us, I guess. And it was Warped Tour. And he was really bummed out that we weren't going to go. And I was not going to, say, sorry, we can't go. So I totally splurged and spent a ton of money on a hotel so that we could be there for the concert the next day. So then we just kind of hung out that night. We watched some movies. We walked around our hotel. So we stayed at the Hard Rock Hotel, and obviously he was super interested in that because he's a musician. So we walked around, and that was pretty cool. And then yeah, so we woke up the next morning. It started at 8 o'clock or something like that. So we woke up, we went and put our stuff in our car, and we checked out of the hotel. So the concert was actually at that same hotel that we stayed at. So we went to the concert. It was so hot. So it was outdoors, and it was 120 degrees. It was ridiculous. It was so freaking hot. But we made it through the day, and we ate lunch at this really yummy place called the Pink Taco. And so we got nachos, and their nachos were huge. It was a huge plate of nachos, and it was ridiculous. But it was so good. So then we continued, and so we left Vegas about 8 o'clock and drove back here. We got home at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So it was like, let's see, an 8-hour drive from here to Vegas because, so we had to stop on the way because I got sick. And we were at this gas station for like an hour and a half because I just felt so sick. So we got home at 4 o'clock in the morning and then we just pretty much slept the whole next day. Then we had our open house, kind of like a second reception because we lived so far away. Like our parents, probably like 45 minutes to an hour away from each other. And people from like up here where Jake lived weren't gonna drive down an hour just to go to reception. So we did an open house. We did it at his grandma's backyard, and it was so gorgeous. And then yeah, so we just kind of were. So he works at a place that his family owns. It's called Temp Rental, and he works there. Obviously. Then I didn't actually get a job till like October. So I work at Ross, and I was originally hired as seasonal, but it's like February and I still work there. So that's awesome. And then yeah.
So now I'm recording this on something a little bit different, but yeah, so I got really distracted earlier, but it is now time for bed. I'll probably introduce you to my husband tomorrow since he has all day off. I've seen him for maybe 20 minutes since he's gone to work. Came home, changed, and then left. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time I update, and I'll try to keep that pretty regular and pretty often. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.